Yo, what's going on everyone? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be going over one of my favorite stasis builds and what I think is one of the best stasis builds in the game. And this thing's just going to get better next season with all the stasis mods that you definitely want to have it in your radar for next season. Another things that you're going to need for this build are going to be the Wicked Implement as well as the Renewal Grasp Gauntlets. And as long as you have those two, you'll be able to make this build. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. So let's start off with our main weapon and the weapon that we're going to be using the most, which is the Wicked Implement Scout Rifle. This is like the perfect weapon if you want to do a stasis build. It can both freeze and slow pretty easily. All you have to do is hit some precision hits, and it can even overflow the magazine with stasis shards. Even though the reload is not really that bad on this weapon, it's still being able to reload your magazine with stasis shards, it is definitely pretty nice. This weapon is also very good against champions, the overloads and the unstoppables, since you can slow and freeze very easily. So without even needing a champion mod, you'll be able to already stun 2 different types of champions. And that's not even everything, because this weapon also has a catalyst that I would definitely recommend for this build, since the catalyst gives you headstone and it can also overflow your magazine with those stasis shards. The headstone is going to help us with ad clear, which is something like the scout rifles can kind of struggle with, but headstone kind of fixes that on this weapon. And it also gives some great synergy with some of our other fragments. We're basically going to be spamming grenades like every 10-11 seconds. It sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. We actually are going to be able to spam grenades that often and just get a ton of damage resistance and be very hard to kill. Now for our subclass, we're running OG Stasis just by itself, pure Stasis, because as much as I love Prismatic, it is not really the best whenever you want to do a Stasis build, because it always kind of has to be like a Stasis hybrid build where you combine Stasis with another element. But if you want to go full Stasis, then Revenant is the way to go. Next up for the grenade, we are going to be on the dust field. This is a big part of the build. It is what makes our exotic work, and also the way that we're going to be getting some tons of damage resistance. Every time we step into a dust field with our exotic, we're going to get 1 stack of frost armor, and as we stay on the dust field, our stacks are going to increase slowly. You get like a stack a second, and it can stack up to 8 times, meaning that we can get 36% damage reduction. So yeah, we're going to have all that damage resistance just for stepping into a dust field for a couple of seconds. And we don't have to continue to be in the dust field. We can actually step out once we get our frost armor and still keep that damage resistance. So the frost armor is actually going to be amazing for keeping you alive. You're going to constantly just tank more damage. So that's the main reason that we're using this, and that also affects your teammates as well. So if your teammates go into your dust field, they will also get some frost armor. They won't get as much as you do, but they will still get some frost armor, and they'll be a little bit hard to kill. So you can also support your team with this, and on top of everything, whenever you throw your dust field, it will also make a stasis crystal, helping you get your abilities back faster, or just adding a bit extra cover. A couple of times I did use the crystal as cover, and it works pretty well. Now moving on to the aspects, the first one we want to take a look at is Grim Harvest. This one will make it so whenever you defeat a slow or frozen target, it creates a stasis shard. And the stasis shards are going to give us back some melee energy, they're going to reload or overflow our weapon, and they're also going to give us a stack of frost armor, or refresh our stacks of frost armor. This is going to be another way so we can keep refreshing our frost armor, even if we don't have a grenade. If we decided to use our grenade offensively and like throw it at enemies, we'll still be able to get frost armor thanks to the stasis shards. Most of the time what I was doing is that I would throw my grenade, build those frost armor stacks, and then just essentially keep it up with the stasis shards. The Wicked Implement is really good at creating those stasis shards, so this is really going to help us. And on top of everything, it gives us 3 fragment slots, so we'll be able to put on even more fragments. Now for the other fragment, I kind of messed around with all of them, but 2 of them kind of stood out a little bit more. And those are Winter Shroud and also Shadow Dive. And it kind of depends on how you want to play this build really. You want to be a little bit more aggressive, then Shadow Dive will be really good. You can come down and just shatter the crystals, shatter frozen targets, overall just do more damage. Or if you want to be a little bit more defensive, you can go with Winter Shroud. Whenever something gets a little bit too close to you, you can always just dodge and slow them, and that'll make them a lot easier to kill. So I kind of messed around with both. I ended up liking Shadow Dive a little more, being able to break the crystals, which do a bit of extra damage against those frozen targets was really good. But breaking those stasis crystals is also something that you can do with your scout rifle. But this one's really gonna come down to how you wanna play this build. You wanna be a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more defensive. But they're both gonna work out great, and they're both gonna give you 2 fragment slots, so it's gonna end up working out the same way. So now let's take a look at some of these fragments, and first we're gonna start with the Whisper Rhyme. Your frost armor stacks have an increased duration. Instead of just lasting 10 seconds, they'll last 15 instead. And we can also get to a higher stack count, which is what allows us to go to 8 stacks instead of the regular 5. Since frost armor is such a big part of the build, this is just like a must-have fragment right here. After that, we're gonna have the Whisper Chains. Whenever we defeat targets where we have frost armor, it has a chance to create a stasis shard. This is just to make some more stasis shards so we can always keep that frost armor on. After that, we're gonna have Whisper Bounce. Whenever we defeat some frozen targets, we make Orbs of Power. This is gonna be really good for us and our teammates. We do have a couple of mods that use Orbs of Power, so this is gonna be really good for that. And we also get our super back faster with those Orbs of Power as well. After that, we have Whisper of Torment. We gain grenade energy each time we take some damage from targets, and having frost armor increases the amount of energy gain. And the increase from having the frost armor on, it is no joke. This is the type of energy you get when you have frost armor on. You actually get so much more energy with taking damage, and since we also have frost armor while taking that damage, it doesn't hurt us as much. So this is going to be really good, and this is what's essentially going to give us those super fast grenades that we can just keep spamming. And the final fragment we're going to have is going to be the Whisper of Visitors, which is going to increase the damage and size of stasis damage whenever we destroy some stasis crystals or defeat frozen targets. We're going to be freezing a bunch of targets with our scout rifle. We're also going to be making those stasis shards with headstone, the stasis shard also for my grenade. So we want to take advantage of those and really get the most damage out of them with the Whisper of Fissures. Overall, our crystals and frozen targets are just going to be deadlier, so they'll be able to hit harder, and also things that are farther away. And lastly, for our exotic, we have the Renewal Grasp. Our Dust Field grenades have a much larger effect, and whenever we step inside them, we get that frost armor. And also something that I haven't mentioned yet is that targets inside that area also deal reduced damage. So that's why it is also very good to throw the grenade at like champions or use dangerous enemies, because they'll be doing less damage. And if you feel brave enough, you could actually head in there yourself, get the frost armor while they're doing less damage, and kill them in your dust field. I mean, shotgun is about to become anti-barrier, so that is something that you could definitely do with this and have a lot of success with. Currently, in the gameplay in the background, I didn't do it too much. I was using a sniper and a scout rifle. I was definitely committing to the range, so you don't see me just throwing the dust field at a champion and just running in at least too many. I think I did it like once or twice with a sniper, but I wouldn't really recommend it. But the main part of this exotic is definitely just getting that frost armor for you and your teammates, allowing you to be tankier and be able to survive things that you wouldn't otherwise. And lastly, we're going to take a look at some of the mods and also kind of discuss the way that you play this build, although I'm sure you guys already had a bit of an idea. So first of all, here on the helmet, we have Radiant Light, so we can give some armor charge to our allies whenever we use our super. We have Heavy Ammo Finder, so we can keep our heavy nice and topped off. We have Harmonic Siphon, so we can make some orbs with our stasis weapons. Now for our Gauntlet, we're going to have Focusing Strike and Bolstering Detonation. This is we can get some class ability energy whenever we hit something with our melee attack or with our grenade. And lastly, we have Stasis Loaders, so we can reload our stasis weapons a little bit faster. If you have 2 stasis weapons, you really get the most out of this. If you only have the scout rifle as a stasis weapon, then you could possibly change this to something like heavy-handed to get some more orbs of power. For the chest piece, we have the resistances, nothing really different there. Use the resistances. Now for our boots, we have Recuperation, so we can heal when we pick up orbs. Absolution, so we can get some mobility, energy back to all of our abilities whenever we pick up some orbs. And lastly, we have Stasis Weapon Surge, so our stasis weapons hit a little harder. And lastly, for the cloak, we have Powerful Attraction, so whenever we use our class ability, we just kind of gather the orbs around. That procs our recuperation, our absolution, and pretty much anything else that has to do with orbs. We also have Reaper, since we are going to be using our dodge to grab orbs. After we use our dodge, we'll also make some more orbs. So It kind of feeds into the cycle of war making and using class abilities. And then we have bombers, so we can get a little bit of grenade energy after using our dodge. Now I know you guys are going to be wondering what we had for the artifact, and we actually didn't really have any of the good artifact perks. Since the artifact is changing, I just decided to not use any of them. So we basically just grabbed all these, grab a couple of these, which some of them don't really do anything with this build, and that's pretty much what we were doing. So we didn't really have any mods, you know, the good mods are gonna arrive tomorrow. Now when it comes to playing with the build, it's gonna be pretty simple. You throw down your dust field, you stand on it to get your frost armor, and then you start your shooting things with your scout rifle. Try to get some headshots so you can get those crystals to spawn and kill, and then you blow up those crystals. And you pretty much just want to play your range as much as possible. You're gonna constantly be getting some of that grenade energy back from being hit, and you're also gonna be constantly refreshing your frost armor timer as long as you keep breaking those crystals. Breaking those crystals or just killing enemies with the stasis abilities will spawn those stasis shards. And if you destroy some of those crystals with our scout rifle, those stasis shards will come right to you. They just can't make their way to you, so make sure you always shoot those crystals when you see them for the extra damage, the ad clear, and also keeping up that frost armor. But anyways, with that we're gonna end today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the build. There will be a dim link in the comments and also in the description below. But most of the time it's gonna be the one in the comments. It's gonna be the pinned comment, so you guys can easily find it. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you guys wanna do any changes or you have any suggestions for me, just make sure you leave them in the comments below. And once I actually get all the mods ready to go, we'll update this build next season and really make it the best stasis build that it can become. But anyways, you know, this was just to kind of show you what I'm working with and the goal that I'm kind of going for with this. But I can definitely tell you that this build is going to be amazing next season once we get our hands on all those stasis mods. But like always, thank you for stopping by, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.